Hey guys, it's Jason with Wired to Fish, and I'm here with Nick with Bass and Gas, and we're going to be doing an install today on the new Lowrance HDS Touch screens. We've got a 12 here we're going to be installing. We're also going to install the remote antenna. And we're also going to run dedicated power just for our graphs, and we'll talk a little bit about why we're doing that. But we're going to put in a new 31 AGM battery, run dedicated power, and then we're going to install this HDS unit. And then we'll also have a HDS Gen 2 8 on the front that we're going to mount on a special bracket up there as well. So we'll kind of walk you through here the steps and stick with us to see how it's done.
First thing you've got to do is get your old equipment out. You got to unhook your terminals, unhook maybe your old boxes, and then take your new equipment and kind of plan out how you're going to install that, because you could use some of your old cables and wiring to pull new cables through. But more often than not, you're going to tape your wires to a fish, just a hard piece of plastic that you can feed through the wiring tubes in your boat. This job's a lot easier with two people, one person that can pull on one end and then the other end can kind of help feed it through, because you got to do it all the way from the back battery all the way up to the middle console and then up to the front of the bolt ultimately. We had to unhook all the terminals and remove the battery and screw in a new battery tray for the 31 AGM that we put in on this install. I went with the AGM just because some of the pros like Danny Moorhead and Terry Bolton had said that it helped them last a long time through the season and had full power all the time on the water. But once we got the wires pulled, we had to terminate the ends. We used heat shrink to get good connections, clamp down the connections and heat shrink them to the end of the wires. Then we needed to install the new LGC 4000. It comes with a little template that you can stick on wherever you want to mount it. Screw your hole for your NMEA cable, and then two holes to actually screw the puck down. Then once that's done, you can just peel the sticker off. Comes off real easy, and then you're ready to feed the cable down through that you're going to hook to the NMEA system. So you get your puck in place, and then you just secure it with two screws, like I said. But once we had that installed, we went ahead and terminated all the ends of the power. And the way we ran this, we actually ran dedicated power. We ran a cable up to the console to attach to a punch block. Before we did that, we actually ran it through a trip switch. We can flip it on and off. On the Ranger boat, you have the option. You can wire it into the accessory panel buttons, but I actually wanted to be completely isolated from any other power in the boat. So I ran the switch, drilled a hole, and got it set up. And then once we got done with that, we went ahead and connected the T connectors on the NMEA cable. We had one for the front unit, one for the back unit, and then one for the LGC 4000. Then we hooked up our battery terminals, and then the last thing we had to do was for our units, we went ahead and put some dielectric grease on the actual connections. Like, this gives you a good connection, since we're connecting the structure scan, power, sonar, 2 Ethernet cables, and a NMEA system into the unit. But that's essentially how we ran this install here.
So here we are, we've got it all installed now. We've got the new Lowrance HDS Touch 12-inch screen here. It's a pretty awesome unit here. What we did, we ran dedicated power front to back. We've got the front graph actually Ethernet cabled into the back of the 12. The structure scan module on the back of the boat actually is plugged directly in the back of this unit. Now with the new Touch units, you don't need the router box that you used to have with structure scan. It's actually built into this unit. So the nice thing is I can run structure scan to this unit. I can put any unit up front, Ethernet cable it up to here, and if it's structure scan capable, I can run it off of this unit with the structure scan plugged directly into this unit. I've got the NMEA system installed. That was the other thing we ran. We ran NMEA cables there, so we could run the LGC 4000. And that remote antenna gives you 5 updates a second, whereas these units update at 1 update a second. So you're gonna get more precise contour trolling. If you're looking for the sweet spot on a ledge and you got a waypoint on it, it's gonna, the boat's gonna turn on the screen as you're turning. There's no waiting for it to kind of tick around like you've seen in the past. So that's one reason we did that. And the biggest thing that I did, I ran the dedicated power from the batteries because I wanted a switch here where I could cut the power off to my units. You see the power's on here bam, I can cut the power off. If I'm doing any kind of troubleshooting with my graphs, you can hear the boats running in the background. We're idling down the lake. Cut the power back on, turn my units back on, and any kind of troubleshooting I need to do with my electronics while I'm on the water, especially when I travel a lot for fishing. It just makes it a lot easier to troubleshoot. I know exactly what wire is ran up to here. I've got a punch block mounted under here just for my electronics. That way I can go back and look. You run a boat, things are going to happen. Wires are going to come loose. This way I know exactly how this is ran, exactly what I'm going to look for under the dash, what I'm going to look for in that front unit, and I can get my units back and going real quick. So that was the main advantage to doing that. We installed the 31 battery. That's just because, I've got a giant unit here. It's doing structure scan, it's doing weather. I've got a unit up front, I've got modules in the back. I've got all kinds of stuff hooked up to my battery. I've got a T&H Marine alarm. I've got all kinds of things hooked up to my battery, so I wanted a battery that could handle that. I'm not worried about it lasting longer than a regular battery. I'm worried about it firing and running my stuff all day long, every day. And so those are the main advantages of my setup that I have in my boat.
There's a look, feel, and legacy with no equal. Packed with features, it's your license to lead. Experience the legendary performance of the Ranger Z500 and Z100 series. Combined with the power and accelerated performance of Mercury outboards, these designs are built to excel. The Ranger Z500 and 100 series. One goal, one standard, one passion. Perfection. Mercury outboards, #1 on the water.